Aprajita Sarangi, MP and national spokesperson of the BJP, joins us along with Ratan Sharda, author Syed Aslam Pasha, spokesperson of JDS, Vivek Srivastava, political analyst, Poonawala, also political analyst. Ratan Sharda, since you are an author, let me start by asking you, do you think there is any merit in the allegation? Because this is said again and again, but historians scoff at it. They say there is as much of Indian emperors in our textbook as there is about Mughals. Then why is this brought up again and again? What's the proof?
If you go to various websites and various, your social media posts where all the photographs of various textbooks are given, they very clearly show that how the bias against the local kings, how the bias of presentation in favor of invaders has been going for years. Sikh gurus have been given worse names. We don't find anything of Vijayanagar or Cholas or Pandyans in any history book, especially in the north. I do not know about south because I do not know the language, but I know about my area, I know about the area. There is no mention of atrocities on Sambhaji. There is no mention of eastern history. There is no mention of Kashmir history. So we have a very partial, one-eyed view of the entire history. If you look at the size of pages given to Mughal Empire vis-a-vis other kings of the same time who were ruling the south, it shows that we thought that entire India's history focused around Mughals. That's not true. We have much, much longer history than what we are supposed to be given, and that is all there is to about representing the history. It is not about rewriting, but also presenting other history which is not known. Who knows about Kakatiya kings? Who knows about Lachit Borphukan? Who knows about the mighty Kalinga kingdom? We know nothing. So this is why we need better presentation of various social reformers. And leftists have made British as if they were the kings, then they were Mughals who were reformers. So how do we look at the entire history, what is happening there?
Syed
I do
Aslam
not
Pasha.
know what is the current controversy in Karnataka. I have not seen the textbooks, but definitely it doesn't mean removing one saint and putting another saint. For us, all saints are worthy of respect.
So let's talk first about what has been said of Prithviraj, Samrat Prithviraj, as opposed to Mughal invaders. Why shouldn't there be equal, if not more, representation given, Syed Aslam Pasha, to Indian heroes?
Maharana Pratap, just a moment, somebody talk Maharana Pratap. We know that in one war he totally defeated Akbar. No, we only know about Haldi Ghati. That's also partial. We talk about Aryan religion theory, which is
my turn now.
Okay, Syed Aslam Pasha, respond. Specific examples have been given. Now you respond.
Has been totally proven false. Now they call it Aryan migration theory.
Okay, let's take it one by one. Let Syed Aslam Pasha respond to the specific examples you have raised. Yes, Syed Aslam Pasha.
Yeah. So Padmaja, let me make it very clear to the audience through your channel. There is a loud and clear voice which has come out against the review committee chairman Rohith Chakrathirtha. Right? Why are we saying this? Okay, there's a clear attempt to saffronize.
Sir, respond. Sir, can you first? We cannot keep going all over the place. Syed Aslam Pasha, can you please respond to Mughals versus Indian kings first?
Can I answer?
No, can you answer the question at hand?
With specifics, can I answer, please?
No, can you answer the question that we are at right now?
Specifics.
The question I have asked you is about whether equal representation is given to Indian heroes as opposed to Mughals.
There is rich and prominent. India has got a rich and prominent history. We have high cultural values, and everything has been. If you look at what has happened in the curriculum in Karnataka, there is an editing done.
Sir, can I please request you to answer the question at hand?
Editing done on Baba Saheb Ambedkar.
Sir, I am asking you about the Mughal versus the Hindu kings or the Indian kings debate. You are going off on another tangent. Can you please stick to the issue?
Mr. Syed Aslam, do you know that Raja
why not? I mean, we need to speak about the prominent subject which is being contested. Padmaja, we need to speak about the prominent
subject. Sir, that is the prominent subject. Today I started out by saying that...
Saheb Ambedkar...
Sir, I'm talking about... Okay, Syed Aslam Pasha, if you'll please come back to the topic, I'll give you some time to collect your thoughts. Till then, let me go across to Vivek Srivastava. Okay, Vivek Srivastava, as per a research report in 2021, an average of 97 references were made to Emperor Akbar, 30 references to Jahan, Aurangzeb and Jahangir each, as opposed to 8 mentions of Maratha king Chhatrapati Shivaji and almost no reference to Rajput kings like Rana Sanga and Maharana Pratap. This is as far as collated data done by a think tank is concerned.
No,
now,
I do not know who is the think tank. If your think tank is the likes of Akshay Kumar, then I do not know how much to discuss.
What is this privileged response? I am giving you data, sir. This was presented before the HRD ministry. There was a research done on how many references are made to Indian heroes or to Indian kings as opposed to Mughal invaders. And I'm putting out the data in front of you. Now, can you respond to that?
Number one, the Mughals were also Indian. They had Indian blood in them apart from Babur. They were Hindu queens. Akbar married Hindu queens. There was a small Krishna temple in the Agra fort where Holi was also done and Krishna was also worshipped. Number one. Number two, Bahadur Shah Zafar, who was also a Mughal emperor, fought for independence, and all the small Hindu kings went to him and told him, you lead us. Later on, he was captured by the British and he expired in Burma. So simply, the Islam and Hinduism both are a part of the Indian heritage. We need to understand that.
This is not about Islam and Hinduism. I am asking you,
now,
is Rana Sanga in any way inferior to, say, Shah Jahan or Akbar or Jahangir? You don't think it bears mention what was done in the Vijayanagar Empire or the Cholas or in Assam, since we are talking about...
Okay. If you have been to Lodi Gardens over here in Delhi, there was the Lodi dynasty, and when Babur attacked India, the first battle which he won had to be against the Lodis. So he destroyed the Lodis, and the third brother of the Lodis, Mahmud Lodi, went and met Rana Sanga. They made an alliance together. It was a Hindu and a Muslim alliance, and they fought Babur. When Rana Sanga was killed, Mahmud Lodi ran off to Varanasi area. Even from there, he kept on challenging Babur on and off. This is the real history of India.
That is lovely. Much as I appreciate this 10 p.m. history class, you still haven't answered me that why is it as compared to a Rana Sanga, there are 10 times more references to a Shah Jahan or a Jahangir or an Akbar.
Padmaja, if you interrupt after every 15 seconds, the flow breaks. Let me speak for 30 seconds. Now, if you take Shah Jahan, or if you take even Aurangzeb, or if you take even Akbar or any other Mughal king, they were kings, they ruled, there was administration, whereas Rana Sanga was also a king. However, he was not the ruler of India. So you cannot give the same importance to Rana Sanga as you will to somebody who ruled. Samrat Ashok ruled, Emperor Ashoka the Great ruled. So you will give more importance to Ashoka the Great and discuss him, and you will not give the same importance to maybe Rana Sanga. Again, I'm using the same word. So people who ruled, you have to analyze them. Our land revenue system was given by one of the Nauratras of Akbar. So, and that is still valid, and we are still following the same system.
Okay,
so
Aprajita Sarangi. All right, so the argument being made is, you have a regional ruler as opposed to the king of India. The same cannot be treated at par. Aprajita Sarangi.
Padmaja, your question is very simple and my answer would be equally simple.
The fact remains that we are proud of our history. It's a very rich history that India has. We are proud of our culture. We have a very rich and varied heritage. And let me tell you that this history comprises many heroes and heroines. And I think when we in the present write our history, or we talk to our children in the present and those who would be coming in the future generations, I think we should hand over to them a book or a textbook which talks well about all the heroes and heroines. It's not a question of Muslim kings, Mughal kings versus Hindu kings or Indian kings, so to say. We are not saying that. We are just saying that those heroes and those heroines who have not got their due must be given their due in our textbooks. When we are talking of Mughal kings so many times, why don't we talk about the Rajput kings, the Maratha kings, the Gupta kings, the Kalinga, the Satavahana, the Periyar kings?
They are talked of.
Right. So you just mentioned that there were 97 references to the Mughal rulers, but there were hardly any references, only 9 references to the Gupta kings, to the kings. So I think the answer is very simple. The HRD ministry is on the job. HRD ministry has done a study.
You are saffronizing
and I
education.
think we are talking of nationalism. We talk of Rashtravad. It's not a question of Hindu or Islam. It's a question of giving our heroes and heroines their due. Those kings, those Hindu kings, those who have not got their due must be given their due.
But Vivek Srivastava, I find this very curious. So are you suggesting that if you talk, for example, about the Rashtrakutas or the Pandyas, or you talk about warriors from the northeast, from Assam, from Haryana, they become Hindu kings? And it is about Hindutva history?
See, I'll tell you.
They are not kings who belong to India?
I'll tell you. I happen to have studied from one of the best schools in the country. And let me tell you, the history we studied, it had three parts: ancient history, medieval history, and modern history. Three parts.
So right? you'd be very surprised to know that everyone on this panel has studied from some of the best schools in the country.
No, I don't know, but let me just tell you what I've studied.
I'm just telling you.
This Hinduization, artificial Hinduization of medieval history and
who is a Hindu king? Who is a Hindu king?
No, just a minute.
Just let's name them. Who is a Hindu king?
Which are given to us.
I thought it was supposed to be about Indian kings. But who is a Hindu king according to you?
No. There's no Hindu and Muslim. If the medieval history was dominated.
Then how does including a king from India become Hinduization?
No, you're not understanding. Medieval history was dominated by the Mughals. Modern history was dominated by the Gandhis and the Nehrus and the Congress and the freedom struggle. तो आप वही पढ़ेंगे ना, अब जबरदस्ती चोलास को लाके तो मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री में नहीं पढ़ाएंगे आप.
तो मिडिवल हिस्ट्री में पढ़ाइए ना, आपको कौन कह रहा है मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री में पढ़ाइए? मिडिवल हिस्ट्री में जहाँ मुगल्स थे तो वहाँ पर बाकी भी तो डायनेस्टीज थी ना भाई. Ratan Sharda. Ratan Sharda from another esteemed college is going to respond to you. Yes.
Where does Chandragupta Maurya sit in your scheme of things? The king who was the biggest king across Bharat. Do you know about him? Do you know about Lalita Aditya who ruled from Caspian land to Assam? Are you aware of Rani Tarabai who defeated Aurangzeb, made him fight for 30 years, finally died a broken man? You don't know about them. Because you're studying in the best schools,
if you are trying
you only have known
what is
of spoon fed you with the Marxist spoon, and you have whitewashed entire history. You whitewashed the atrocity of invaders, you whitewashed all of them, and you claim everything you know about King Dahir who defeated Mir Qasim, who could not Muhammad bin Qasim could defeat him for 50 years.
No,
so you have to respect every king.
Okay. So Tehseen Poonawalla, there is no such thing, and it has been acknowledged, there is no such thing as an objective history. Naturally, the person writing it will in some way influence what is being written. Maybe decades later, somebody looks back and says, you know what, this isn't being equally representative, so you can correct it. Nobody is saying remove anyone or, black out anyone, but also include others who are equally deserving.
Absolutely. That's what it is.
Correct.
Good evening, Padmaja. Thank you so much for having me on your show. Good evening to all my fellow panelists and your app. Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, go on.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening. Thank you for having me on the show. Good evening to all the fellow panelists, and good evening to your viewers. You're right, Padmaja. There is every historian will have his own bias. There will never be perfect history. But what the BJP and RSS is trying to do is inculcate Deen Dayal Upadhyay WhatsApp history. And I'll give you an example with the great state of Karnataka, for which I have very high regards. There is the member of parliament from BJP here on this panel, a very esteemed lady. Can she tell me, was Basapanna, who gave Basapanna the Linga Diksha? He started the process, he formed the religion. And the textbook that the pervert, and I'm using this word with a lot of responsibility, the pervert chairperson of the textbook committee, Rohith Chakrathirtha, has been appointed, that pervert, because all his tweets are about porn. Do you want me to read his tweets, who's been made the chairperson? One of his tweets, Padmaja, you'll be embarrassed. What is the organ that is most active in watching porn? Your ears. This is the man who's been made head of the textbook committee. This man says that the great Basavanna was given a Linga Diksha. Who gave him? He started the religion. The process started by him. This is the lies that they put in the textbook. He's insulted the national poet of Karnataka. He's insulted Baba Sahib Ambedkar. He's not just removed chapters on Tipu Sultan. He's removed chapters on Bhagat Singh, on Ambedkar.
It hasn't been removed.
I'm asking the esteemed member
that has not been removed. The chapter on Bhagat Singh has not been removed.
Does she?
That's a misinformation. Chapter on Bhagat Singh has not been removed.
It's been reduced significantly. It's been reduced. It's been reduced significantly. I have the textbook. I have the earlier textbook. And this is the draft copy of the textbook. Where is the textbook that's come out so far? The textbook hasn't come out when the school has started. They sent a draft. And the chapter versus what was there has been reduced. Yadurappa ji was a Lingayat chief minister. The current chief minister, Bomai, is a Lingayat chief minister. Do they agree what he's written on Basava, or what he's written? Do they agree with this? What kind of saffronization is this?
Okay, so if we move beyond individuals, one, a report has been sought as far as the Karnataka syllabus controversy is concerned. Second, if we talk about the overall rejig, are you okay with a rejig where certain chapters are either removed or pared down? Surely a Hedgewar should find more space than Tipu Sultan? Tehseen Poonawala?
What was Hegdewar's contribution to Indian independence? He only went to jail when he was a Congress member. After that, he gave up. He didn't even fight for the freedom struggle. He formed the RSS. Tell me one RSS member who's fought or sacrificed his life for Indian freedom. Over Tipu Sultan, who fought the British and made an alliance with the French to fight the British. And forget Tipu Sultan. They've reduced chapters on the great Periyar. They've reduced chapters on Bhagat Singh. Is Hegdewar's contribution more than Bhagat Singh? Hegdewar's chapter is more than Bhagat Singh's. We should be ashamed and embarrassed of ourselves.
When you make embarrassing mistakes like this, you set yourself up for failure. Okay, let Aprajita Sarangi respond. Aprajita Sarangi.
Just one tweet.
Okay, Aprajita Sarangi.
The statement of some of the panelists here is, I will oppose because I'm expected to oppose. See, here is a government which is not talking of saffronization. You know, please remove this word. This is not the right kind of word. It's not saffronization. We are talking of giving due to our leaders, our heroes and heroines, those who have not been given their due. My point is, as I mentioned earlier, if we are talking only of Tipu Sultan hundreds of times, and we do not talk of a Satavahana or Pratihara king who has been very valiant, I think that's something which is a crime that we are committing at this juncture. So the Education Ministry has set up a committee. Now a committee's job is to just give recommendations to the government. Now it's the government which has to take a final decision. So I think let's believe in the wisdom of the government. People have chosen the government. But this is a very important thing which has been flagged by some of the people, that many of these kings who have not been given their due must be given their due. So what's wrong in that?
Aprajita Sarangi, before I bring in Syed Aslam Pasha, the grouse of people has been, we have sat here for the last 8 years and spoken of how people are not given their due. You have the Union Education Ministry under you. Why cannot there be a centralized policy to really decide what happens in our educational institutes? Why this wariness where one state's moved 2 steps forward, 3 steps backward? Do you not have a policy at the center to really decide what educational reforms are needed and what is done to the textbooks? Why are we constantly arguing on the sidelines?
We should certainly have the policy.
No, let Aprajita Sarangi answer for her policy. Aprajita Sarangi, where is the policy?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. See, there have been many historical errors that are being corrected by the government under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi.
But ma'am, there haven't been any such errors corrected at the central level at all. In the last 8 years, as far as the Union HRD Ministry is concerned, there hasn't been a single policy where there is a holistic revision of what is put in the books.
I'm coming to that. See, I'm referring to Article 370 and 35A scrapping and triple talaq and citizen amendment. That's fine. But as far as Education Ministry is concerned, we are on the job.
Okay, you are on the job. I'll quickly bring in because this is something that people like Ratan Sharda have also brought up again and again. Let Ratan Sharda respond to your argument. Yes. And then Syed Aslam Pasha. Yes, Ratan Sharda.
I just want to ask one simple question.
Few arguments of Tehseen. What did Periyar or EV did for the independence struggle? He was an ally of British, let us understand. He worked on a false theory of Dravidian-Aryan divide, which was created by British to divide Indians, and that is what it did. And despite Dr. Ambedkar totally denying the entire thing with logical arguments. Number 2, Basavanna was a reformer. He didn't create a new sect. He was a Shaivite. Thirdly, now coming to the textbooks, I totally agree. BJP needs to do some good homework, which has not been done for last year. If it is done, we are not aware of it. And that is the way where we should have a uniform data available, which can be used, picked and chosen by different state ministries. Does he know that Dr. Hedgewar went to jail twice for 19 months? Does he know that in Calcutta he was able to create a satyagraha to recognize the Indian doctors because they were not allowed to prescribe certificates to the sick when he completed MBBS?
Okay,
So
Tehsil Poonawalla wants to respond.
Which are kept hidden. These are things which are not even. Sikh gurus were treated so badly by the historians, like thieves and robbers, and we didn't speak about that.
Please allow me to respond.
Yes, it's all this whitewashing.
Tehsil
Please allow
Poonawalla.
me to respond. Thank you. Very quickly. Very quickly. Yes, Dr. Hedgewar went to jail. He went to jail when he was in the Congress. After that, he gave up the freedom struggle.
With RSS also, dear friend, 1930.
I don't have to repeat my point to get boring for the audience. He never went to jail when he was in RSS. He never went to jail. Let's come to the point.
RSS member.
Please
allow me to finish.
It doesn't work like this.
Correct yourself.
Please allow me to finish.
1930, he was RSS.
Look, I cannot argue if this is going to be a clash. I kept quiet. I have to give my facts out.
You cannot deny 1930 imprisonment.
Please allow me to finish. Number two.
You can't deny 1930 imprisonment.
Basavana started a new religion. Okay, Basavana started a new.
We went to jail in
Padmaja, I cannot argue like this.
After founding RSS.
Okay. I really have to bring in Syed Aslam Pasha because we've been waiting very patiently. Yes, Syed Aslam Pasha. Just a second, Syed Aslam Pasha.
I need to talk. He's spoken about me. I just 1 minute. Basavana.
So,
Basavana started a new religion.
Okay. Padmaja, since the debate is about Karnataka and the syllabus of the textbooks in Karnataka, I need to bring in the specifics. Okay. Yes, we have spoken enough. Now, give me a patient here for about 30 seconds. Give me my time. So, I want to tell you what are the major changes which have been done, which has brought in the ire of people of Karnataka. Right. The biggest social reformer, Basavanna. When we talk about Basavanna, he spoke about equality. He spoke about caste hierarchy, which has to be removed from the system.
Yes.
He spoke about humanitarian values. Why is that being removed? Why is that being edited? And when we talk about Baba Saheb Ambedkar, he spoke about equality.
Yes.
He spoke about the humanitarian values. And here, Baba Saheb Ambedkar converted from Hinduism to Buddhism. That is edited.
Yes.
What is the need for it? What is the threat? Is this not a clear attempt to saffronize and communalize the education? This is a clear attempt.
What you say is right.
And also, we are talking about Tipu Sultan and Hedgewar. Tipu Sultan has fought 3 battles with the British. He fought for the freedom struggle. Can you tell us the contribution of Hedgewar for the freedom struggle?
Yes,
Ratan
of
Sharda
course.
is talking about Hedgewar.
Yes.
Can you please tell us
Yes.
the contribution of Hedgewar,
Yes.
Hedgewar for the freedom
Yes.
struggle? It is
Surely,
Tipu Sultan who fought 3 battles with the British. You don't want to.
Okay, let Ratan Sharda respond. Ratan Sharda.
You don't want to read the history.
First of all, I am all for Basavanna. I am all for Ambedkar. And this is not for separation because we respect Ambedkar as well as Basavanna. They should be there. So where is the fight? As far as Ambedkar is concerned, Dr. Hedgewar is concerned, went to jail in 1920, went to jail in 1930. He got the certificates for medical students.
Okay.
He fought all his life as revolutionary, as Congress member, as RSS member. When coming to Tipu Sultan, my dear friend, ask Christians, ask Sainga Brahmins who were butchered by Tipu Sultan, and where does Martanda Verma go?
Okay.
Martanda Verma, who defeated the Dutch forces in 1741. Why is not mentioned? Why do you don't talk about Raja Martanda Verma?
Okay, if you can judge from the last 28 minutes if the issue of what history we are being taught can get such strong reactions in 28 minutes of a TV debate. Surely there are 2 points of view that exist. Surely there are 2 ways to look at the same subject, and surely there are 2 parts of our history. One which feels it is not represented enough. If indeed our schools and universities are places which are meant to be a place where different views mix, then why can we not include more views and let the people decide for themselves? This is an important debate, and more important that the central government take note, because we can keep arguing about this, but eventually it is the changes that happen at the ground which will make all the difference. Thanks very much, all gentlemen. Aprajita Sarangi for joining me.